Good morning and welcome to Inside Texas Politics. Republicans have talked about it for years, but we may now be weeks away from the GOP replacing the Affordable Care Act. Congressman Michael Burgess is leading the effort. The Republican from Denton County is chairman of the House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Health, also the longest serving medical doctor in Congress. And joining the questioning as always is Bud Kennedy of the Star-Telegram. Guys, I'm glad you got the memo and the green ties.
Yeah, no kidding.
University of North Texas.
We're all supporting it this morning, exactly.
Springtime's near.
Let's drill down on this health care here. The president said in his news conference on Thursday that a health care plan will go to Congress next month in March. Will that happen? How's it going to be different than the ACA right now?
Well, if you'll recall, in late 2015, the House and Senate both passed under what are called reconciliation instructions, budgetary instructions, because it only requires 51 votes to get through the Senate. Both the House and the Senate passed a bill that repealed large portions of the Affordable Care Act. Now, President Obama vetoed that, but the stage was set that if you had a president who would sign those reconciliation instructions, in fact, you could devolve large portions of the Affordable Care Act. So it's important to note what was in the reconciliation bill a year and a half ago. Certainly relief from the fines on the mandates for the individual mandate and the employer mandate. Some of the things that weren't included in the bill previously were, say, the keeping kids on your parents' insurance to age 26. Medicaid expansion was repealed in the previous reconciliation. The ban on lifetime limits was not repealed in the previous reconciliation. So that sort of gives a roadmap or an idea of what to expect. The difficulty, of course, and as a member of the House of Representatives, sometimes we have hard times understanding the ways of the Senate, but the Senate can do things with a 51-vote majority under budget reconciliation instructions. The larger policy pieces do take 60 votes. So right now it is an effort to see how much can be added to that reconciliation instruction that will come through the House and the Senate. And yes, you're right, the House will likely mark up those reconciliation instructions in a few weeks' time.
Congressman, let me ask you about that. The larger policy pieces, do you expect to see additions tacked on to that proposal that was that passed last fall?
Well, and that's what's in the works right now. Is it possible?
Will that be ready in March?
Yes. And that is the repeal plus strategy. So repeal under reconciliation, big portions of the Affordable Care Act. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that can happen at the agency level. And you know, what a great day for this country that we've got an administrator at the health, or the Secretary of Health and Human Services, who actually wants to help people rather than hurt people. So there's that administrative function, and then there are further policy items that will require 60 votes. You're going to have to get them through the Senate.
What are some of those? Because there hasn't been consensus from the GOP on what those are.
The focus right now is on repeal plus, on the reconciliation side. Is it possible to get language in that reconciliation bill that expands health savings accounts, that establishes an advanceable pre-fundable tax credit? You know, the whole concept of we're giving you a subsidy under the Affordable Care Act. If the premiums go up, that encourages premiums to go up. If you provide an advanceable pre-fundable tax credit, that actually is tied more to inflation rather than insurance companies just arbitrarily raising premiums. So look, one of the first things that is required of us is to stabilize the insurance market, in the individual market. There are serious strains that are showing. I recognize when the Affordable Care Act was passed, the whole idea was to crater the insurance market so we'd end up with a single-payer system. I'm trying to keep that from happening.
Congressman, what is the outlet at this point for the public to be heard? We're hearing that some members of Congress are not having town halls to discuss health care. Some of them you can't even email or call. What is your office's policy? Are you having town halls in your district to discuss health care?
I did a big telephone town hall just
telephone town hall. Is that open to everyone? Is everyone going to call inviting them?
Well, you do have to be a voter in the 26th district of the state of Texas.
Will you do a public town hall?
I'll just tell you this, Bud. I mean, I do a lot of town halls. I mean, the time that I've been in Congress, it's probably at or above 100. Right now, the work is in Washington. I've spent more time in D.C. since the election of Donald Trump than the beginning of any Congress since I've been there. I think I've done one town hall prior to Easter in the 14 years that I've been in office, so that is not a common occurrence. I'm looking at my schedule, but a lot of things are set. I've got a lot of work that is already on the books that I know I need to do, but my office I did the entire month of December. I can't tell you how many office meetings I did. The bulk of the meetings I was doing at that time, I was reaching out to my state counterparts, folks that are in the State House, State Senate. You need to be talking to me. In our party platform for years, there has been the idea of going to a block grant for Medicaid. Right. Is this really what you want? We need to be quite precise about what we're asking for, because this is the year you've got a president who may very well help you get that.
Congressman, I want to shift off to politics briefly here too. Michael Flynn, the National Security Advisor for the president, he resigned. The president's second pick said no thanks. The head of U.S. Central Command told a symposium last week that the government is in turmoil. That's his words. How do you assess the White House in its first month?
We all knew this would be a different presidency, and so far it has delivered on that promise. Look, Donald Trump and Mike Pence have maintained that they are in the promise-keeping business. We've had 3 meetings with Vice President Pence this past 7 days. I saw Joe Biden once a year at the State of the Union. There is a lot of hands-on work that's going on between
is it in turmoil?
The administration. Not to my observation, but I'm not on those committees that deal with national.
What would you like to see done differently at the White House?
They need a national security advisor. The fact that the Senate has held things up, they don't hold up that appointment, but they've held up every other cabinet appointment. Come on, Chuck Schumer needs to appoint those people. President Obama got the advisors and the cabinet secretaries that he wanted. Republicans took some grief for voting for those members, but they did the right thing for the country, and they approved those cabinet secretaries. They approved those undersecretaries. You have to have those folks in place for the government to be functioning.
Congressman Michael Burgess, thanks for coming in. Nice green tie.
Thank you, sir.